February 22, 2026. In the mountains of Jalisco, a complex of houses is surrounded by forest. The target is the most wanted drug lord on the planet, the man for whose head the U.S. is offering $15 million, El Mencho. As soon as the military approached, heavy fire broke out. Within minutes, it was all over. El Mencho was fatally wounded, and then what everyone feared happened. El Mencho was born in a poor neighborhood in the state of Jalisco. As a teenager, like thousands of other young Mexicans, he illegally crossed the U.S. border and ended up in California, searching for money and a better life. But the better life didn't turn out quite as planned. In the 1980s, El Mencho came to the attention of the American police and was arrested for involvement in drug trafficking. He received a short prison sentence, and after serving his time, was forcibly deported back to Mexico. For most people, that would have been the end of the story. For him, it was only the beginning. Returning to Jalisco, he made a move few expected. He joined the local police force. This detail is often overlooked, yet it is essential to understanding everything that followed. Working in law enforcement gave him something far more valuable than status or income: insider knowledge. He learned how raids are organized, how intelligence networks operate, where the system is vulnerable, and how corruption truly functions. He learned to think like a cop and later used that knowledge against the police themselves. El Mencho eventually joined the Milenio cartel, one of the major criminal organizations in Jalisco at the time. But the group soon began to fracture under pressure. Arrests, assassinations of key leaders, and violent internal power struggles. Out of that chaos and territorial reshuffling, a new force emerged: the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, a new order and a new leader. El Mencho stepped out of the shadows at the exact moment it made the most sense. In a short time, his personal fortune grew to $500 million, eventually surpassing $1 billion. But these numbers didn't appear by chance. At a critical point, he made a strategic choice that shifted the balance of power in the drug war. While the old cartels built empires on cocaine and heroin over decades, he bet on synthetic drugs, primarily fentanyl. Here's the key: no farmers, no plantations, only laboratories. CJNG built entire networks of underground chemical supply channels. Kilograms became thousands of doses, compact, almost invisible at the border. If he once fled illegally to the U.S., now his cartel controlled the route, and you have to pay for the right to go through it. For migrants without money, the cartel offered barter: free passage if you carry a backpack of drugs. Success means huge profits, and failure means only cheap batches of fentanyl. While cocaine made billionaires in South America, fentanyl became the currency of a new drug war: fast, lethal, efficient. U.S. attention on El Mencho extended far beyond Mexico. This was now a national mortality crisis, and this could not go unnoticed. On May 1, 2015, what the government called a decisive strike against CJNG began. Intelligence had tracked El Mencho in the Jalisco area. The mission: strike suddenly and capture the leader. But as soon as the operation began, everything went wrong. It turned out that the cartel had been warned in advance. However, it was too late to back down. Around 6 a.m., Army and federal police launched simultaneous raids. Checkpoints went up on key roads. Military helicopters took to the skies. Cartel gunmen responded with fire, including from a grenade launcher. One helicopter was critically damaged and crashed. 9 soldiers and 1 federal police officer were killed, one of the deadliest blows to the Mexican army in the fight against cartels. Within hours, chaos erupted across the state. Over 30 drug blockades, buses and gas stations set ablaze, highways blocked. Guadalajara and dozens of cities were paralyzed. El Mencho emerged unnoticed. Federal forces had counted on surprise. CJNG had proven it. A parallel state with its own army, its own weapons, and its own rules of warfare. But what hurt even more was the realization that the entire system was broken. One of the most infamous recordings proves it. the CJNG boss calls the police chief, known as Delta One, directly.
¿Y quién habla?
Mira bien, hijo de tu puta madre. Soy Mencho, güey.
¿Cómo?
Relaja tu puta gente a la verga. Soy Mencho, güey. Relaja tus putas partidas. Si no te voy a partir tu madre, tienes toda tu bola de perros. Te tengo identificados 30 güeyes. Hasta tus putos perros te voy a matar si no te relajas, güey. ¿Cómo ves?
Ya está, señor, ahorita los bajo.
Oh, no cuelgues, hijo de la verga. Te tengo ubicados en Chacala, güey.
No le estoy colgando, le estoy diciendo ahorita los bajo.
Póngase bien las pilas, güey. ¿Qué se le puede hacer, amigo, cabrón? ¿Uno no se mete con ustedes para que se pasen de verga?
No, señor, ahorita yo se las bajo.
Pongan, revíremeles a todos los hijos de su puta madre, porque todos agarran dinero y son buenos de puercos.
Sí, es lo que me están
¿Se
diciendo.
me ponen al tiro o tú eres el primero que vas a marchar por ellos, León?
No, señor.
¿Vale?
No, señor, no se trata de eso.
Váyase a la verga, porque aquí los vergazos están al 220, ya se la sabe.
Under CJNG's control, entire police units were paralyzed. They warned of raids, leaked information to cartel agents, or simply looked the other way at what happened behind neighboring doors. Refusal to cooperate meant death. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. In 2016, the drug world was shaken. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the legendary leader of the Sinaloa cartel, was arrested. His capture left a colossal power vacuum, and El Mencho was ready. CJNG expanded rapidly, new territories, new international trafficking routes. Most terrifying of all, they deployed explosive drones and rocket launchers that spared no one. The cartel became the fastest growing in the world, with revenues of $20 billion, enough to build its own security system, one that kept El Mencho safe for years. But the system that had protected them also forced federal forces to change tactics. Agents no longer trusted locals, and this time CJNG didn't get advance warning. A trusted courier, tasked with a critical mission, was placed under surveillance. He was constantly transporting one of El Mencho's lovers, and that proved decisive. For the first time, agents could pinpoint the cartel leader's location. The investigation led them to an isolated cottage complex near Tapalpa, 80 miles from Guadalajara. It wasn't random. El Mencho considered it a fortress. Mountains restricted access to a few narrow roads, while forests offered cover and escape routes. On February 21st, 2026, everything felt different. Around 9 a.m., a woman arrived. The military was already in position, but they did nothing. They watched silently, waiting. Hours later, she left calmly. Her departure said more than any report. The one she had come for remained inside. On February 22nd at 5:15 a.m., the first assault team approached the houses. About 200 meters away, cartel gunmen spotted the advancing forces and opened heavy fire with automatic weapons and anti-tank grenade launchers. An intense firefight erupted. The gunmen fought to hold their positions and protect their leader's escape. At that moment, El Mencho was wounded. A helicopter was called for medical evacuation, but his injuries proved fatal. He died en route to the nearest medical facility. Several cartel guards and law enforcement personnel were killed, and many others wounded. The area was thoroughly combed. The operation lasted about 2 hours until all units withdrew, confirming the mission's success. The raid not only eliminated the CJNG leader, but also revealed the scale of his armed security. Any approach to El Mencho was a potential trap. His organization could mobilize a massive defense within minutes, paralyzing the region. Although the plan was to capture him alive and lock him in a maximum security prison in Colorado, but nothing went as intended. By morning, the first signs of chaos had erupted. Roadblocks, vehicles set on fire, and armed clashes erupting across Jalisco and neighboring states. Over 10,000 military personnel were deployed in the following days to contain the violence. Civilians were caught in the crossfire. Schools closed, transport halted, sometimes set ablaze. CJNG had no direct successor. El Mencho's son had been extradited to the U.S., and his right-hand man, known as El Tuli, was killed the same day. The situation mirrored what happened after El Chapo's arrest. A power vacuum emerged. The Sinaloa cartel unleashed waves of violence to maintain control and prove that even without its leader, it remained a formidable force. In both cases, the death or capture of the leader did not end the violence. It only escalated it, impacting ordinary citizens and regional economies first.